So, map veto. Where are we going to play? Let's find out, and we'll just shoot it off here. Get to the end. It's going to be Clubhouse, just like that. All right, so Clubhouse. Going to be interesting to see these teams going up against each other. Team Empire have been changing their pacing a little bit recently in this season. They're a lot different than we saw them be in previous seasons, for whatever reason that is. And Clubhouse is going to be one of those maps that automatically starts to slow you down, so that might be something that maybe they'll struggle with a little bit. Chaos notoriously having a decent pacing to themselves, so I don't think that's really going to be a problem for them. I'm really interested to see how this one is going to play out.
This has become a deceptively good map for Empire as well. They 7-0'd Fnatic at Milan to put the nail in the coffin for the Australian team. And then, most famously, this was the map upon which Empire won their championship, winning the Season 9 finals over Evil Geniuses on Clubhouse. Despite the fact that this has historically been a very good map for EG, they didn't put up as much of a fight as I think you'd expected, and Empire have cruised through this map twice that we've seen just in LAN competition. Now, obviously, online is a different beast than LAN, but Empire have put up really good results here, and it might be a very difficult task for Chaos, because while Chaos is okay on Clubhouse, just based on over the last couple months, you've got to give the edge to Empire on this map, and also as a team. If
we're looking over the last couple months, absolutely. Yeah, without question. I just wonder right here and right now, today, if it's going to be that case, because, I mean, let's be honest. The fact that Chaos allowed Clubhouse to be the map means they have to be prepared here. They've got to have something up their sleeves, and I'm interested to see what they're going to show us. It's not a certainty that they'll have enough to beat Empire, but it is a certainty that they had to have come prepared for today. It's a 7-map map pool. You know, there's not a lot you have to really, question about the map ban phase. You can kind of narrow it down, and when you know you're going up against Empire, you want to bring your very best. So we'll see what Chaos actually has to show us for today, but when we actually get into the match. But in the meantime, yeah, going to be an interesting one. We can continue to talk about that.
So, we have a community vote for you. Who do you think is going to win? I would not be too surprised here with the results if they favor Empire quite overwhelmingly. And you know what? That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I could have seen it definitely being lower than 20% in favor of Chaos.
I mean, it's not terrible.
But I think Chaos has deserved it with the performance that they've put on. And, I think there might be a lack of recency bias here because people are forgetting that they manhandled G2 last week.
Now, I personally believe because of the notoriety of G2 that the fact that Chaos managed to beat G2, that's going to fall on the shoulders of G2 in the fans' eyes much more than it is going to be, wow, look at Chaos, look what they did. They managed to beat G2. Good for them. Most people are just going to be saying, oh, what's happening to G2? Oh, that's, I think, probably why that's not really playing a factor.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that community votes always do have a bit of weight behind popularity, and Empire has become a very popular team, I would say, over the last couple months, and even if Empire were stumbling, which they haven't yet, I still think there's going to be people who are going to vote for them no matter what.
Yeah, Empire have been looking really good so far through the season. Like we talked about, they managed to get 2 wins, one over Vitality, one over Penta, 7-5s both, and both of those teams are very, very good contenders for the top echelon of Europe. But right now, we have the actual match ready for you guys, so in just a bit, we'll start loading into that.
I think this is a good contender for match of the day as well. I know that the Lestream Vitality matchup is on our current match of the day status, but Empire and Chaos easily could have given them a run for their money based on the way that these two teams play. I don't expect a blowout here by any stretch of the imagination. I am ready to be proven wrong because I also didn't expect a blowout for Instant Immortals last week, but that's exactly what we saw. So we'll get underway. Chaos will be starting on defense first, and it's a perfect opportunity for them to ban a hard breacher. And they'll take Thermite, and they will remove him from action. Say goodbye to one of the hard breachers. Now, when you look at what Team Empire is going to ban, I was going to say when they last played against Lestream, it ended up being a double hard breacher ban, and it gave Lestream a very definite edge over top of Empire. Empire don't want to deal with Montaigne. We've seen Monty get banned against Chaos before, and a big part of that is because, well, you know that the shield operator, the French shield operator, gets utilized by them a fair bit. Yeah. In keeping with all European traditions, you say goodbye to the Spanish defender. Mira is off the board in the last ban. Coming out from Chaos is Echo. So nothing really too surprising. You expect a hard breacher ban in some capacity, whether it be Thermite, whether it be Hibana, whether it be Maverick. You're likely going to see one on Clubhouse. And then, of course, a shield ban just to target Chaos.
Yeah, I mean, it is Clubhouse. Like he said, one hard breacher must be banned. And a targeted ban in the Montaigne, but he often gets banned on this map as well, just in general, regardless of the team. So absolutely nothing really to talk about in that ban phase. It's just a pretty standard one. Now, we're going to be going to Gym Bedroom as the first site, and that is somewhat interesting from Chaos. Gym Bedroom, usually the third site went to by most teams, and it's not going to be the case here. They'll just come out the gate swinging with something a little bit off step, and that could possibly maybe upset the rhythm that Empire is going to want to establish early on. But as is true with all of our, I'd say all of Siege Esports' best teams, Empire are adept at changing mid-match depending on what their opponent is bringing.
Chaos have always stood out as a team that work together well, but, well, you saw with Redgroove's clutch the other day, and you saw the great play of Secretly in the past, that teams can, they have players on the team that can completely take over. And I'd imagine that if they're going to beat Empire, they're going to need not just a team effort, but a good individual effort from all of their players to stand up. You can't just rely upon somebody like Secretly, somebody like Renewals, somebody like Redgroove to dominate a game. You're going to need greater depth than that, because on Empire, you've got 3 people, 4 possibly, if Scyther's having a good day, who can absolutely cannibalize any part of a defense. So,
right now, the target for Empire looks to be the east side roam. They're going to be starting off by the garage and cache and server. This is pretty standard. You open up server wall, even like as if you were attacking cache. Then you start your push into workshop or construction, and you can have a crossfire on the site. It's not an easy thing to do, though. It does take a lot of time for the attackers to chew away at this defense, and that's why you'll often see a gym defense accompanied by a cache server roam. So, standard stuff here from Chaos, and a large time commitment being made, as well as utility commitment, as you can see, by Empire to clear out these roamers. A lot of teams this day and age will just ignore these roamers and try to hit from the jacuzzi wall, office, cut off rotation and workshop, do their very best to negate the roamers, but not clear them all the way. Maybe pressure them, deny the server pressure by opening up that server wall. That allows them to play on the south balcony. It seems to be actually potentially a kill here for Secretly, but he misses his shots. Oh no, Karzeka gonna be alive and, well, barely alive, but still kicking and able to take into server with his teammate. That is unfortunate to see, but some damage done is better than nothing on the side of Chaos.
Sounds like a Jackal ping, and quite successful now, as Renewals is going to be on the run. Dan finds Vitalin. So Chaos will lose their very first member, and the first frag will come out as Secretly just narrowly misses one member of Empire who vault on over. This is a heavy investment inside of cache, as you had mentioned, is very accustomed to seeing here on this site. And possibility for an active bandit trick, as Crips will set down both bandit wires and get them both. But I mean, he gets traded out by Joystick, who just runs right in. So utility denied, but you've still lost control of the part of the map that you wanted to hold on to. Meanwhile, there's only a minute to go, so not terrible timing when you think about it.
Yeah, but positioned for Secretly, I think, is the star here. If he can get a frag or two playing on this roam, it doesn't seem like Empire aware of his position. He could swing the round back into Chaos's favor. But as another one of the anchors goes, it's going to look really desperate for Chaos. Redgroove trying to retake from the main stairs. That's difficult. And oh no, Secretly gets flanked on his own flank. It's over. Empire losing one member in that round, having a pretty standard take in through. They clear out the roamers and hit the site from jacuzzi wall. Nothing amazing, but everything executed very well. Impressively done there for Empire, and Chaos really not having everything locked up. I mean, they gave away a lot of free kills. The anchors in Bathroom by Master, and then the roamers over by Cash, just not covering their defaults appropriately, and it was a pretty easy take, I'd say, for Empire.
Yeah, and Empire does the same thing every single round, basically, without fail. So look to see a clear coming on over from Garage, and then look to see possibly one or two bodies going over towards Jacuzzi. Doesn't matter if it's going to be Cash CCTV up top. Could even possibly see similar things clearing from that second floor down when the site happens to be Church on the floor in the basement, or on that very basement floor. Doesn't matter, though, because it's going to be a Cash CCTV defense for Chaos. They're not going to roll the die on Jim and Master again, and given the fact that, as you pointed out, there was only one member of Empire that got felled, even though Karzeka took an awful lot of damage at the onset, Chaos were fighting from behind every step of the way. And if you know that your opponents are going to push from Cash and CCTV, well, you can double down on it and make that the site. Use your utility to try and push them elsewhere and prepare for them in that capacity. And that's what Chaos is going to do here, is they're actually going to run a very similar lineup to what they had last time. And Empire, well, expect them to run basically the same thing every round, as they usually do.
And they've got to bring that Maverick and Hibana combination every round because of the Thermite ban. Something I'm sure Chaos are relying on. It also is very important that Empire bring a little bit of soft destruction, whether it be on the Zofia, the Jackal, or what have you. Just so when you Maverick trick one of these walls, you can open it up, the soft part. Shepard setting himself up for the Maverick trick on the Cash wall, but server wall, but he's cautious of a potential run out from Garage, rightfully so. So the door is opened up. Looks like it's going to be some active bandit tricking going on here from Secretly, and he's going to do a little bit of damage to Shepard, who has hit that sub 50 HP mark. Crips gets a first kill here of the round onto Joystick. That's very important. That's 2 smokes gone. But more importantly, the head of the roam clear department there eliminated in that Jackal.
Yeah, and Joystick was one of the parts of the early entry for Empire on the last round, and part of what started off that ball rolling in favor of the Russians. Losing Joystick and then Shepard losing half of his HP, and as you pointed out, not just 2 smokes, but the only smokes available for Empire here, which make things a little bit more difficult, though. You don't always see a smoke execute happening on the site because the default spot tends to be within range of toxic canisters or C4. You're usually not going to need much cover here for a plant, but stranger things have definitely happened. We've seen teams smoke off construction before, and I don't know if that's what Joystick was intending to do, but given the way that he positioned himself, I would imagine that's probably where he was going to go. Now, Empire have a minute and a half left in this round, and they still haven't been able to fully flesh out what is inside of Garage. They've opened up that wall that leads into CCTV, but other than that, they're just simply waiting. And you know that Dan can taste the kill onto Vitalon as he just crawls along on his belly. But Dan is alone for the time being, just guarding this opening, and well, he can't hit anything, hoping for somebody to possibly peek out, but there's nothing. It's Scyther who takes down Secretly, and oh, Dan's just gonna run right in and takes out Renewals, prompting somebody from Chaos to try to cover. A beautiful shot from Vitalin will put things back at a 3v3, but the site control has been lost, and Chaos will now be forced to retake.
Chaos not in a great spot. You can see the pressure on the top of Cash stairs is going to be applied to Red Groove, but he'll win the fight against Scyther impressively. There's a down Vitaline in the Garage on the rafters, but he is not finished off. There's potential for recovery there, though I doubt in this 2 versus 2 that Chaos are going to commit to that play. Chaos has lost control of Cash, but as you can see, the diffuser is not able to be planted just this second, as the pressure that these 2 Chaos players are applying to the site is just enough to deny an outright clear from Team Empire. Karzeka setting himself up to vault and push into server. He fails the vault though, and he's actually just going to linger inside of Cash. Some sprays to the wall there from Crips, not going to land any shots. Red Groove C4 will miss. Karzeka finishes off Crips, so it's just Red Groove to deny the plant, which has gone into server now. A push here from Red Groove, but he's going to be shut down by Karzeka. And there you go. Empire take the round. Well done on that clear, and a beautiful maneuver in the dying seconds of that round.
Chaos found themselves losing 2 bodies, and then they had no control over the site at all. And they had to storm up red stairs with about a minute left in hopes of retaking, because the 2 members who were playing on site got absolutely demolished. Dan just charged in through the opening on the wall, took out the smoke. As you'd also seen, I believe you said it was Crips, who got taken down as well. That's what left Red Groove, Secretly, and Renewals in a position where they had to try to get in towards the site, but 2 of them were playing so far off site that when they made their ascent up the red stairs, they didn't have an option to go through Cash, and Vitaline, who had been taken notice of inside a Garage, didn't have any chance to get back into the site as he was downed immediately. Yeah, when you're downed, you're still going to be in a position where you're essentially a human drone, but you're not very effective outside of simple calls, and, well, when you've lost control of the site, you don't necessarily need the most accurate calls at that time. You often need a body to be able to throw at it. I don't know if Chaos was gambling on a retake strategy or if Empire read correctly that the people that were sitting inside of sight by Chaos were extremely vulnerable, and if you could force the roamers to come back to take the site after you had killed the anchors, then you were in very good position. I would suspect, given how good Empire is at droning, that they made the assessment, hey, the site take is very easy, let's make them force themselves, or let's force them into a retake.
The big question for me, and it's a small thing, but in that situation, amplified by the circumstances that Chaos found themselves in, is, okay, coming up, cash stairs, retaking site, still an option. Red Groove commits to it, but he's playing Valkyrie. And this is a soft destruction site, you know, it's cash. You can blow up the planter from below. Why not linger downstairs and try to deny the site? Of course, it's possible Red Groove had used his C4 at that point. It's also possible there was no information in the site, no Valkyrie cams placed there. But, I mean, it is definitely something that I'm wondering about, and I do question it. Now, moving on to round number 3. Empire have looked, well, standard Empire so far. It's weird to say that considering how quickly they rose to power, but they are looking very powerful, very strong in this match. And Chaos have been making a lot of very small mistakes that are allowing Empire to get that foothold of the 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, the entry from Empire has been so successful. Even losing Joystick on that previous round, there were still a couple options for Empire to be able to get that opening frag coming through in hands of Karzeka, Dan, or Shepard, or even Scyther, as Shepard is usually not going to be the one who's possibly in any contention here. This is a good entry for Dan again as he's looking for a second, but he's not able to land the shots. Oh, he's going to take so much damage from Renewals, but there's Karzeka entering from over on Strip. A good split entry from Empire, and 90 seconds in, they've already found 2 of the off-site players. Now, keep in mind, Michael, the site is downstairs in Church, and you had 2 bodies from Chaos playing up top over towards Stock.
Okay, so what just happened there from Chaos is that they were going for a jungle roam by the pool table, by the strip club. They were trying to delay Team Empire as much as possible. A lot of teams, when they're clearing the roamers on a basement defense here, what they'll do is they'll drone out for those roams. Oh, another kill for Empire, and, well, they look in stride. It seems impossible at this point for Chaos to recover. But to continue with what we were just talking about, they were trying to... There's Joystick kicking into another one onto Crips. I mean, I'll get to it later. Vitaline, the last defender alive. All he could hope to do at this point is deny a perfect round, and he will be successful, at least in that endeavor. That's 1 for Vitaline. Starts pushing towards his own made breach, but he can't even eliminate Scyther with the pre-fire, and Empire will take the round nearly flawless, but not quite so. Anywho, what I was trying to say, thank you, Empire, 3-0 for them, first of all, but moving on, what Chaos was trying to do there was delay as much as possible on Team Empire. And often what will happen is when an attacking team is trying to clear out the roamers on a basement defensive Clubhouse, is their tempo will be upset. Their pacing will be distracted, and the attackers, when confronted with roamers in positions like the way that Chaos were playing, will be unsure how to handle that problem. But Team Empire were well practiced in how to clear out those roamers. They knew what they were doing. It was pretty obvious. I mean, Sophia Lifeline in Stock Wall opened up a line of sight all the way to Pool and Strip Club that allowed the easy frags for Dan. And then Joystick, you could even see him. He didn't need to, but he was being thorough. You could see him opening up above common roamer spots off-site. As the first 2 kills came out, he was applying even more pressure to potential roamers that didn't exist. So Team Empire are well versed on handling those roamers, and Chaos probably shouldn't ever try that again, if I'm being honest.
I mean, at least Chaos did something that they didn't look like they had the best support structure for on those first 2 rounds, which is set up for a trade.
True.
You know, if you're Chaos and you're going to roam against Empire, you learn something that a lot of teams learn early on, which is that Empire, while doing the same thing over and over again, tending to be quite methodical in it, they don't really miss their shots. And Empire can make small changes as to what angles they hold when they enter a room, or what soft destruction they use, etc. And a lot of it is because of the proficiency of players like Dan and Joystick, and just not missing their shots. And because of this, you almost always invariably have to fight for a trade. You have to do this most of the time, but you can't really solo roam against Empire the same way you can against, say, other opponents. That time, you saw you had the Mute as well as the Maestro inside of Stock, which is a curious decision, given the way that the Church site on the basement tends to play out. But at least you had Renewals in a position to possibly shut down the entry of Dan, were not for that pesky Karzeka on the secondary hard breach roll, knowing that there was presence inside of Strip Club from earlier droning and pushing at the appropriate time. Because of this, Chaos, at least learning from their mistakes a little bit, will have to try and replicate that, but hopefully with better success. And they go to Cash and CCTV this time in hopes of breaking the 3-0 streak that has emerged in favor of Empire.
It's looking a little bit desperate for Chaos right now. The proficiency with which Empire have been attacking through these rounds is truly impressive. You could say standard Empire, but that in of itself, again, impressive. Joystick going to be using his Jackal to great effect and trying to hunt down the roamers under the site this time. It's going to be Crypts that he finds downstairs, I believe. And him being detected, running around is his best strategy, and trying to distract his opponents is something he'll be doing as well. Now, gas canisters already being used here from Team Chaos, and that's really not a good sign if you're the defense. They do still have control of Garage, which allows them a crossfire on server and thus denial of that default plant. But as the wall in Workshop has been opened up, this is looking good for Empire all the same.
This is the second time that Karzeka has failed to get that construction wall open properly. I mean, he had the kind of Frankenstein 2 holes prior, and now it gets very close to 1 hole, but he's going to have to go prone to get on in. Secretly picks up 2 kills for his trouble. What an impressive play, and a third comes out for him as well. Joystick knocking on the door, ready to walk on in. Jackal Track will give him some information as he and only Karzeka are remaining, once known as the dynamic duo on this team. Joystick lighting him up. The ace stolen away from Secretly as Vitaline finds a kill, and Chaos are primed and ready to take their very first round. In a 1v5 situation, Team Empire are in trouble. Only 30 seconds to go. Karzeka waiting patiently by the double windows. He'd get dove out on by any member of Chaos. Don't need to throw bodies at the problem here. But Chaos exhibiting great restraint for the time being. They know that Karzeka is not going to have an avenue to come back into the site. He holds the diffuser, though, but he's slowly backing away from the challenge. Only 10 seconds left, and you can hear the timer go up. A shot will sail over the head of Karzeka. He can't control the bobble of the Bearing 9, but he's not going to do much. He's going to waste time as much as he can and give his team some much-needed time to talk about what's going to happen in round number 5, because Chaos will put their first round on the board after a torturous 30 seconds of deliberation from Empire. Finally, a good round from Chaos in this matchup.
It was smart there at the end to just take the time allotted to you to try and plan out your next round, and Empire will be ready because of that. Question is, where will Chaos go? Looks like it's going to be Gym. And it could have gone to the basement as well. Thus far, most of these sites have not been friendly to Chaos. Managing to win there on Cash was, I think, mostly due to the heroics of Secretly, pushing into an odd angle, one that I'm guessing, well, don't even need to guess, one that obviously Empire did not anticipate to be pushed upon, and managing to get 3 kills from it. So well done to Secretly, putting his team ahead in that round. Now, Chaos cannot rely on heroics like that to consistently arise from its members. They need to formulate a more well-thought-out plan to allow them to lock out Empire's attack. And we'll see what changes they make on Gym in their second attempt. The first time they went here, it was a really easy clear of the roamers for Team Empire over by Cash that allowed Empire to take the round. Not only that, I suppose, but also all of the anchors in the actual site were falling one after another, and Empire looked indomitable, as they so often do. So Chaos will need to have a more firm grasp, I think, specifically on the roamers. And if it be that Empire decide to just forego clearing the roamers, then a concise rotation back to site from just those very same players. Bleh.
Interestingly enough, Empire has completely negated any type of attack on Garage, and they've just decided a construction take after construction take here. Now, given the fact that the site is all the way over in Gym and Master, you're likely not going to need much of a focus on Garage, and it really comes down to whether Chaos is going to hold that part. Usually teams don't do that at all. They just guard Cash, which is what we saw the very first time in the very first round of this matchup, where Chaos did exactly that. Oh! Joystick gets bamboozled by the footprints of Secretly, who had apparently done figure 8s around the armory bins. And just as quickly as Secretly is able to take a life, he almost loses his own in a fight against Dan, in which Secretly doesn't land a single shot. Dan was watching that angle like a hawk, knowing that Secretly was likely going to need to rotate, and Blue was going to be the scene in which he would do just that. Karzeka spots the Valkyrie of Red Groove, and this is another chance for an entry kill for Empire, possibly thwarted by Chaos. So far it has been, with Secretly seemingly getting the better of Joystick.
And these roamers for Chaos have been working out great. Secretly seems to have rotated over to Lounge. I believe that's the Pulse, and He's trying to hold on to this angle. He didn't spot Dan on that cardiac sensor and barely gets away with his life, as well as taking down Karzeka. That is a huge blunder from Dan, and he's also going to die to Crips, who is roaming at the top of Cache Stairs. Wow, a truly perplexing play there from all of Team Empire on trying to clear out the roamers.
Dan called for help on Karzeka, and I think secretly knew that there was going to be a secondary push, as that's exactly what Dan had done with Karzeka on renewals. Going for broke is Scyther, as he realizes that the time and the numbers advantage is heavily against him. He'll get nothing for his troubles other than an early grave, and now Shepard, with a minute left, is looking to send us into round number 6, with Chaos edging ever closer. Just evading a Nitro cell, Shepard's going to try to play from below, but he's not going to have much success for the time being. He's wary of multiple angles that could possibly push him. He's a 3-speed, so he's going to be able to make up that ground quite quickly, and he'll do just that. Entering into the lobby and looking for somebody else, but there's nobody for the time being, at least within striking distance, until secretly pops up, and down goes Shepard, and it's 2 rounds for Chaos, that one being flawless. A lot of work for their troubles, with both Cash and Jim locked away. We'll end the first defense. This is for Chaos before we switch sides on the church site down below.
Oh, very impressive roam there from Chaos, but also a seriously questionable clear from Team Empire. Surprising to see how many of Team Empire were entering the building solo and droning for themselves. Joystick downstairs didn't even bother to drone. That's one thing that I really question. Joystick knows there's somebody playing downstairs. He sees the footprints, decides not to try and gather information on whoever that might be before just pushing into Armory. And that is what ended up costing him his life. Well played to secretly, specifically, again, secretly, so far, the hero of this match for Chaos. And I can say with confidence, the only reason that Chaos have managed to take any of these rounds. He's also been getting very lucky, which is important to point out, especially with Dan, who was simply not holding the angle by Lounge when he had an opportunity to eliminate the pulse. Now, the reason he wasn't holding that angle is because he didn't know where Secretly was. The opportunity slipped through Dan's fingers, but the reason he didn't know where Secretly was is because Empire have been not droning for their clear, which is just odd, especially for Empire.
It could also be that Empire was getting its signals crossed. They were just droning out the wrong things. You know, you could give some credit to the way that Chaos played that, simply outfoxing Empire's entry.
I was about to say exactly that. There is one thing that to point out about the way that Chaos were playing on their roam, and that is that they were, well, they were playing very erratically, is the word I'm going to use, because the other one is just an unintended pun. I mean, it would be appropriate, but I can't. Joystick could be clearing into the office. Again, no drone work for Joystick. He's just going to go in solo. He'll find the footprint of an opponent, though, and at least there's that.
This is interesting here because we saw both a Nomad and a Capital in Joystick's hands when he played on this match previously. We also saw him running a G36C-equipped Ash. He's going to be on Jackal this time. So flexibility for what Joystick can pick up. Looking possibly for the Bandit yet again, but this time he will find the Kaid's footprints. So 2 members that were playing off-site whose footprints were discovered. It's a bit of a error from Scyther as the first EMP will miss, and then he'll use all 3 of them, and it'll grab the Electric Claw. Poor timing from Secretly, who will now have to retreat out of Moto, and he's also under watch from that Jackal scanner. So Secretly trying his best to keep his team in a position where that EMP would have been gone as well. That was the 3rd EMP coming out for Scyther. Soft destruction in spades inside of the kitchen. As you can see, either a Buck or a Sledge do. In this case, Team Empire doesn't shake up a formula that worked for them for the first 3 rounds, but has fallen short in rounds 4 and 5. Over half of the round to go, and as is commonplace with a church defense, or a church take, depending on what side you're on, there's not a lot of action, and there's no casualties either. Confronting the 3 reinforced walls down on the church wall, Dan will pause for a moment as the rest of the team possibly look to do some soft destruction here. Oh, no, Karzeka might not actually get that hatch, depending on how many are on.
Yeah.
And he won't.
He won't, no. Great impact tricking there from Chaos. Not sure who it was, but I guess it was probably Crips, who was in the great position by Dirt Tunnel to deny the hatch, and that is going to trip up the attack from Team Empire, to be sure. There's a blowtorch in the hands of the Maverick, but it's unlikely it'll be used on that hatch at this point in the round. Dan going to be going through the hallway, but oh no, foiled by a Legion Trap. He'll have to fall back off that push, and that's great awareness from Chaos to put that Legion Trap in the hallway preemptively. Second push comes out from Empire, and Scyther is going to put one on the board as well as another, actually. It's looking great for Empire suddenly as they have taken control of Church. Full control here and just waiting for the retake from Chaos. It's all on Crips to try and get this in his team's favor. He'll take down one, so no flawless round, but Scyther, the final kill. And Empire, after taking control of Church there towards the end, will be able to lock it out.
It's always so impressive how Empire gets the call, whether it's through drones or whether it's just through game sense, for them to spring around a doorway and punish somebody on the other side of it, right? There's very little you can do because Empire has the advantage there, and if you're taking the fight, there's a very high likelihood that you're going to be the one to come out ahead. In this case, through the very first half of this game, Chaos on defense, it's Empire who comes out ahead 4-2. And now we switch sides heading to round number 7, and Empire will have at least 3 rounds to try and put this one away. Chaos will hope that they can close the gap out. Now, keep in mind with the operators banned, there's going to be no Montaigne available for Chaos, as that's an operator that they favor from time to time, depending on the map, and Clubhouse tends to be a very good Monty map. They're still going to bring an operator that can get under the skin of the defense, and it's going to be a Lion. Crips likes his Ashe a lot, but in this instance, I guess Chaos's call is that the Lion will be far more effective. And we'll see if Chaos is going to utilize any kind of rush strat involving that, but I would guess from what they're bringing to the table, especially with the Capitao, the answer is no. This will likely be done in the plant to post-plant situation where Lion keeps you at bay.
Team Empire choosing to go with CCTV Cash first. We'll be bringing a Maestro, which will be instrumental in their denial. No Valkyrie here from Empire. Less information, that's for sure. They will bring a Doc. That'll be to hold on to Garage. This is still common practice. Doc is probably the most proficient individual operator to hold on to Garage, but you can pair operators with each other to make this a little bit easier. A spawn peek early on from Karzeka. This is risky. It could pay off. It will. Vitaline, not the intended target of that spray, but he will still fall. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the single true hard destructor on Chaos' side. There is, obviously, the Maverick, but he is, of course, a bit of a hybrid operator, so he's not going to be able to make as much work, or rather do as much work as the Habana was able to. Means that this will probably be limited to a server wall opening up here from Chaos, and they won't be able to pressure in through Workshop as easily as I'm sure they hoped to have been.
So if you look at the lineup of Chaos, how many Claymores do you think you have on the board for them?
Well, probably one less just now.
Well, Secretly was holding breaching charges, so his wasn't the end of the world, but that's a beautiful play. Is upside down repel. Very little of your perspective is actually shown when you repel upside down, and is a distinct advantage to the repeller. In this case, even though you had everything working in your favor, it was joystick, the man doesn't miss, and you see a perfect example of why. This is the first EOD for Crips possibly to roam hunt, as there's a variety of different members of Chaos moving in different directions, and the Lion will find himself being the one who's the prey and not the predator. Shepard will gun down Red Groove, and nobody from Chaos can even get into the building. Renewals' task has been to flush out Garage, and he's been trying in vain to do so for 90 seconds. He hasn't been able to get Karzeka just yet. He has 2 asphyxiating bolts if he wants to use them, but for the time being, doesn't seem to be doing so. Karzeka knows! And Renewals gunned down. A flawless round from Empire. What an impressive state that was.
Didn't even look like Chaos really had anything going for them in that round. Everything that Chaos set up to do, they were quickly destroyed on. I mean, holding down the blue stairs rotation, the upside down repel, 1 death there, trying to pressure into Garage, multiple deaths there, opening up the server wall, death upon death on that one endeavor. So overall, it's just Chaos losing bodies, trying to, commit to pretty standard strategy. And then also, can't forget that early spawn peak that was where Vitaline managed to lose his head. Good job to Karzeka for making that happen, but at the same time, really that falls on Chaos, because when you go for a spawn peak, I kind kind of, I think, regardless of the context, as long as it's a legal ESL legal spawn peek, which means not instantaneous, then it doesn't really. It's all on the attacker for letting that result in their death, because a defender going for spawn peek, they put themselves at risk. That's kind of the nature of a spawn peek. So, and that's on Chaos. Good job, Karzeka, though. Team Empire going to go to the basement for their second defense, and I mean, if that last round is anything to go on, then this looks to be like Team Empire walking away with the match.
Did you even say running away with the match?
Yeah, sprinting away with the match.
Sprinting as quickly as they can in one direction.
Nice working.
The Lion experiment did not work for Chaos. Speaking of the other side of things, Michael, and I don't know exactly why Chaos was utilizing it after they'd already lost 2 bodies. I don't know if it was simply a break in case of emergency button when Cripps used it to try and hunt down where Joystick was playing. It didn't work out at all, of course. You saw Joystick killed Cripps, ensuing EOD. Cripps maybe having a bit of false confidence from that EOD, not expecting anybody to be in that particular direction. Cripps has now posted himself up in this round on the top of blue.
Oh, that could be a free kill, but he's going to try an EE1D first. You don't have to always use the gadget to secure the kills, especially against 3 speeds. When you know he's there, it's not like Joystick is going to stop running because of the EE1D. It's not like he's going to be like, oh, maybe they haven't seen me. He saw your drone. He knows he's there. So just peek him. That's a little bit, I think, of fright on the side of Cripps. I don't want to say he's playing scared necessarily, but he didn't need the EE1D would not have helped him there.
No. And he missed. He missed just narrowly, too. It came close to being a capitalization, but all you've done now is push Joystick farther back into blue, and he's going to hold that angle forever.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he needs to do inside of blue until he loses the hatch protection above him and see if Hibana can make it on over in that direction. Rolls the bottom of main stairs while there's soft destruction happening upstairs in kitchen. Secretly, once again, Karzeka is going to take some damage inside of dirt. That's the Maverick, a red crew who appears to have popped all the way up. Bustly loses his head in this altercation with Dan, but there's no damage that's being done to Chaos for the time being. Dan will re-aggress for the time being, but in a very patient manner. He'll creep on up, and oh no, Red Groove doesn't check at all. Dan finds him, guns him down, and now Joystick is on the hunt. He's made his way all the way up from blue, up through Oil Pit, and he's got the Lion there completely unexposed, and oh man, Chaos, 2 big mistakes that could tip this round in favor of their opponents.
And this is just, I suppose I would say, blatant confidence from Empire. They are going to lose Scyther, and oh, Karzeka as well. Here we go, 3 versus 3. Dan, though, holding on to Arsenal, will eliminate secretly. So Empire not exactly in full control, but they still have the HP and man advantage here. Vitaline on low HP. Renewals is going to have to really shine in this round, but he's stuck on the kitchen drop down with only 25 seconds left. This is not a great position to make work. He's peeking onto the Legion, though, and he will take down Dan, so that's a great kill there from the Capitao. Doesn't even lose any HP, but he has to go for that main stairs push with so little time. Smokes are going to cover up Joystick's line of sight. Push through the hallway here for Shepard to lock down. He'll get 1 and the second in the same magazine, it looked like. So good job there to Shepard holding it out on the main hallway. Team Empire, a very confident round, and they go to match point.
The Capitao needed to be just a little bit faster there for what appeared to be a perfect retrade or trade/refrag situation. Didn't end up coming of it because the Capitao sprayed instead. I don't know how much Empire is currently living inside of the heads of Chaos, but it definitely does not look like the Chaos that we are accustomed to seeing at all.
I would say very much. I would say Empire are definitely, they have set up shop inside of Chaos's heads right now because the way
rent-free, of course.
Rent-free, yeah. Mikasa Tsukasa, they are absolutely in control right now. Empire went for every possible retake on that round. They retook into main stairs. They retook from the ladder. They retook from the stairs at one point. That stairs retake from Joystick, pretty blatant, don't you think? Like just, hey, I'm going to go up blue stairs. And it should have been a kill for Cripps, but he decided to EE1D instead of just shooting Joystick. Again, in that scenario, the EE1D is not going to stop Joystick from running away. He's going to run all the way back. He's not going to be afraid of getting detected because he knows he's already been detected. That's why he's running. So, Empire, just obviously feeling full control of this match. not really worried at all about what Chaos are bringing to the table, and it shows. Chaos, on the other hand, I think tripping over themselves, losing a hold of a lot of the more standard parts of your take, like, for example, denying the ladder retake into Garage, denying the blue stairs push, denying the main stairs push on a basement defense on Clubhouse. These are basic things. You know, you need to have something to deny that, whether it's an air jab, you know, maybe bring Nomad instead of Lion, or it's a Claymore. I mean, there couldn't have been a Claymore on the blue stairs because, or sorry, pardon me, the blue ladder, because if there had been, I mean, Joystick didn't have any way to deny it. He's a Jaeger, didn't have impacts, didn't have C4, so some basic steps being skipped here from Chaos.
Chaos is just being bullied as well, and
it does look that way.
Empire's having a field day with all these small little mistakes, and right now for Chaos, it's death of 1,000 cuts and a couple big cuts to boot. So. Joystick with the run out. He knows that there's going to be somebody up on Jacuzzi, as there almost always is. He's not going to think anything of a second run out, as there's very minimal coverage. There's a soft wall in his place. And
is he going to go again?
Here we go again. Time number 2! Joystick very easily, secretly not so secret that time, up on the balcony, and they know exactly where he is. Nothing secret about that one.
Wow.
Chaos will lose one member in their Thatcher, who's able to take out any of those gadgets that Team Empire decides to throw in their way, and Karzeka just brutally beheading Vitaline. Might as well have been a guillotine in his hands, and Empire find themselves with 2 very fast kills in quick succession.
Yeah, you say nothing secret about that first kill, and I like that you said that. It's oh, wow, some missed shots from Karzeka, and Crips gonna get the first kill for his team. Another run out from Joystick, and he barely misses the head of his opponent there on the roof. It seems that Chaos have finally gotten wise to this run-out, but it's going to be a 4th attempt that will finally be the undoing of Joystick. Red Groove gets another kill for Chaos, and the confidence from Team Empire is starting to cost them. They still have 3 players on full HP, though, so this is certainly not Empire in a losing streak yet.
There goes most of the utility from Renewals as well, outside of his smokes. And Renewals finding Dan. I guess Dan must have swung wide, as Empire has been doing every single time they've had an opportunity so far in this round. They are having what appears to be an awful lot of fun toying with Chaos, possibly trying to get in their heads even more than they already are. Shepard's position might be given away by a drone here, but it gets shot out. He's going to be the victim of bad circumstances. Crips finds him in a crossfire, and Scyther can't land the shots he needs. He's going to be frozen and seeks the cover of a hard wall and continue to rotate on over. Finds a drone for his troubles. Looking for one more body. The Capitao around the weight machines, but he just can't lift it quite high enough. Renewals instead will go to a plant, priming a C4, falling off. The Capitao will, and Scyther playing around this deployable shield. He's got the cross still held by the Maverick, and there's almost no way he makes it past Red Groove. One beautiful shot. And a little bit of hastiness from Empire, and that impatience will give Chaos its second round. But that was Empire more than anything. That was Empire giving them the round, or the third round rather, for Chaos. That's them giving it to them more than Chaos necessarily earning it.
Yeah, that was certainly Empire screaming, here you go, have it, take it. And now, again, I want to finish the point I was trying to make earlier. I like what you were saying with, yeah, okay, when Joystick got secretly on the Jacuzzi balcony, I like what you say, when it's not so secret. It's true. Joystick's run out, he was broadcasting it. He did it 4 times, guys. 4 times, and it took 4 times for Chaos to shut that run out down and finally kill Joystick. So the way that Empire are playing, it should be punished way sooner. Chaos shouldn't have. That could have been potentially a flawless round for Chaos. The way that Empire played that, I think they were trying to hand the round to Chaos, and it was narrowly a win for Chaos. They barely managed to take it. So certainly a good lockout on the side of Chaos when it came to that the last few players there. The 3 versus 3 scenario, that was really good, well executed. I like to see that, the way that they took into the site. They held on to the rotations, and they managed to get that diffuser plant. Impressively done. Props to Chaos for that. However, that early round cost Chaos much more than it should have. And Empire, on the other hand, you know, if we're gonna do the scolding, then Empire, yeah, they really don't need to be playing the way that they're playing. They could just play standard, and this would be over right now.
Also, there's almost no chance that Karzeka misses that shot.
In server.
More than once out of every 10 times. And unfortunately, the way that statistical probability happens is Karzeka met that 1 in 10 odds that he would actually lose that fight to Crips. He had so much time to lay into the Lion, and he did it looked to be about 50 HP or so.
Which means he hit him once.
At close range, likely somewhere in the lower part of his body, and that was all she wrote. So to add a little bit more potency to their lineup in terms of fragging potential, it's Renewal sitting on side of a Blackbeard. And, well, even though he's got a face shield to his name, it doesn't sustain any damage for the time being. He'll take about 25 HP. Renewals will now do battle with the possible Shock Wire that Dan or the Electric Claw that Shepard can throw up. And Red Groove will now lose a quarter of his HP as the second EMP will go down to take some of the utility away.
Secretly watching for the runouts as well as taking out those Electric Claws and Bandit batteries, but has to be more efficient with that. Red Groove struggling with the blowtorch here on Maverick. That's curious. A lot of misplaced holes there. He's also, again, like you said, losing a lot of HP to the Bandit batteries, but he managed to open up one panel. So effectively job done here for the Maverick. And Chaos now just need to open up that wall with soft destruction. But it's actually going to be a C4, I believe, just used from Dan to do their job for them. Kargazeka is going to take down Secretly thanks to that C4 hole. So it was teamwork on the side of Empire. And now Chaos find themselves a man down.
Secretly might also be the only person on the team that has breaching charges in his hand. And it sure does look that way, unless Renewals has some on the Blackbeard, which is a question that we don't have an answer for just yet. Could have made it very difficult to open up through that opening, but as you said, for his troubles, he gets Secretly in the process.
Oh no.
Here we go again. His joystick's going to run out, his position given away, and he'll seek the cover of the awning, not yawning. Nothing really much of a yawn in this matchup, as it's been quite exhilarating, especially for likely fans of Empire who have got to see their team do quite well, obliterating Chaos on a number of rounds. Though Chaos has kept it decently close, and they'll take out Shepard at this time. 45 seconds left, and they're primed to maybe do more than that. But Red Groove is also off the board, so it's a 4v3 favoring Empire with roughly 30 seconds to go.
Enemy of Chaos right now is primarily time and joystick on this roam. But the anchors in Empire continue to pummel Chaos as they attempt to aggress, and this push in through Workshop is going to be met with force. It's over. Team Empire take the match, and it's going to be a 7-3, very much in Empire's favor. I don't think that scoreline fully represents how much this was in Empire's control throughout the match. It could have very easily been a 7-0 had Empire not taken unnecessary risks at certain, inopportune moments.
And Empire having a number of dominant rounds, too. Those 7 rounds did not really come down to the wire, and I think the scoreboard really shows the story. Though, I am a little surprised with how many kills Chaos was able to accumulate all together. Still, I think it's a disappointing result for the Swedes, a strong result for the Russians, and the one Estonian member, of course, and essentially what you've come to expect out of Empire so far this season, in seasons past as well. And with that, Empire will take sole possession of first overall in Europe. They'll jump over Lestream, who went and started the day with both Empire and Lestream being the 2 members of Europe who have won every single one of their games.
Well, the 74% of you that thought that Empire were going to take that win were correct, and in pretty dominant fashion again. I think overall, Chaos, the big thing from them is, and again, I want to highlight this, they had a lot of opportunities to gain an advantage over their opponent. The way that Empire were playing was just, again, it was just loose. They weren't really, I don't think they were really putting a whole lot of thought into the way that they decided to try, especially on defense. Empire were just like, hey, let's do whatever we feel like we want to do. But, I mean, we can ask them, as we, I believe, have an interview.
We do, and we'll talk to Empire. They've had 3 opportunities to speak with us, and they'll have yet another joystick. How are you? Nice to see you again. I feel like we're here multiple times a week. So.
Yeah, hello guys, nice to see you too.
I want to talk about this matchup today. First and foremost, Clubhouse has secretly become one of your better maps.
Yeah.
How much of an effort have you put on learning this and adding it to your map pool? And additionally, losing one of your best maps in Oregon, did it accelerate you having to learn another map to the same level that you knew Oregon?
Yeah, we haven't got Oregon right now, and we just learned new map, and we practice a lot on the Clubhouse before the Pro League finals, and we feel so comfortable on this map, and we do the same all the time.
I think that's a good way of putting it with Empire. You do the same all the time.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, when they were on defense, Chaos seemed to get into your heads on 2 rounds where you couldn't drone them out effectively. Now, or rather, find them effectively. Was this because you couldn't drone them out? Was this just because they played unpredictable? Because there were 2 rounds where it definitely seemed like you were fighting from behind the 2 rounds that Chaos won. What went through your minds there trying to figure out where their roamers were?
Yeah, we don't play versus Charles a lot on in practice, and they use mute very good, and they play it unpredictable for us. They when they defend the below side, I don't know. They play above. They play in strip. They defend unpredictable positions.
Now, when you're talking about unpredictability, was mute the biggest reason why you weren't able to find them, or was it miscommunication on your part?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit miscommunication from our side.
Perfect. Now, heading into today, you said you don't play Chaos all that much. So how do you prepare for them? Is it about preparing your own strategy, or is it about counter-stratting them to a certain extent if you don't play them all that often?
I don't think we never counter-strateging, because we always do the same and it works all the time. So our coach said us what they pick, what they use, what they're defending, and our captain, in-game leader, in-game said us what we need to do to win rounds.
Now, the Monty ban that came out, I'm assuming was because you didn't want to play them because you know Chaos plays it?
No, it's just because Monty for us, it's I don't know how to say. We can't play versus Monty, that's why.
So the secret to defeating Empire is run a Monte in every single round if you don't ban him. So now, that's it for me. Anything that you want to say to the fans, to the viewers, etc., at the end of your 3rd interview in a row here in European Pro League?
Yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for everything. We love you, and good luck to the next teams in next matches.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll see you again. Take care and have a great day.
Good day.
Thanks.
Well, I guess they have to ban Monte for all eternity.